Through the chair, good evening, everyone. Yeah, we'll just hit record. Sorry.
It is recording.
We're recording?
Yeah, recording you.
Okay, great, thanks. Through the chair, good evening, everyone. We're here today to present the initial attendance area review report for the Oxford North Panel Attendance Area Review. This is a boundary review that is necessary due to the approval of the new school in North Woodstock, and it is important for our long-term planning in this part of the district. Ben Puznov and Eric Miles from our planning team will take you through the options that have been developed for a boundary review. As you'll see in the presentation, public consultation is planned for the fall, and implementation of any attendance area changes is planned for the opening of the new Woodstock Elementary School. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Manager Puznov.
Thank you, Superintendent Bo, and good evening, everyone. Just go back to the slide. So in undertaking the review, we did have three specific objectives. First, we need to create an attendance area in Woodstock Elementary School. We're also looking to balance enrollment across North Oxford in a thoughtful and practical manner to make sure that all schools continue to be well utilized after the opening of the new school. This leads us into the third objective, which is to ensure the long-term viability of all schools in the area. Eric Miles, planner with our team, is going to go through the various boundary change options that we developed as part of this work. But just before we do that, I am going to provide a brief summary of the schools that are proposed to be involved in this review. So in addition to the new North Woodstock Elementary School, we do have a total of 7 schools to be included. Zora Helen Park has a capacity of 397 students, and it's currently a holding school for the 3 holding zones in North Woodstock. And it's also the interim accommodation school for the portion of the Hickson Central attendance area that's located in the north end of the city. Enrollment at Zora Highland Park will decrease once the new North Woodstock school opens because students will attend a different school. Hickson Central has a capacity of 481 students, and it is currently over capacity due to the rapid development activity in the north end of the city. As you will hear a little bit later on in the presentation, there are a couple of boundary change options that have been developed for Hickson Central. Innikip Central has an OTG of 279. This particular school is at capacity, but will be growing rapidly due to development activity in this area. One of the goals in this review is to manage this enrollment growth that's coming through the boundary changes. Blenheim District Public School has a capacity of 366 students. And as you'll see in this presentation, the school does have some available space to help us manage enrollment in the area. Next on our slide here is Central Public School, which has a capacity of 377 students. The school is currently over capacity due to accommodating holding zone students from North Woodstock historically. Enrollment will decrease upon the opening of the new elementary school, and Central will have some space then available to assist with managing enrollment in the city. As you'll hear shortly, a number of potential boundary changes have been developed for this school. Northdale has a capacity of 328. The school is over capacity currently, but enrollment is projected to slightly decline and then stabilize. We've included Northdale in the review in order to consider a potential change with Central due to an irregular boundary between these 2 schools. Eastdale has a capacity of 314 students. It's currently below capacity, but is projected to grow due to development planned for the Southwest Woodstock Holding Zone, which was established here last year. There is a potential to designate a portion of Eastdale's attendance area to Central in order to have students attend a more proximal elementary school that will have space following the opening of the new North Woodstock School. And finally, the new North Woodstock Elementary School has been approved for a capacity of 660 pupil places. And we're working towards a September 2026 opening for the school. Due to the submission of multiple development applications in this area following the approval of the new school, including the planned redevelopment of the Woodstock Meadows Golf Course, the school is projected currently to be over capacity upon opening. Administration has submitted a scope change request in order to increase the size of the school to 856 pupil spaces. As you'll see in the coming slides, the outcome of the scope change request to the Ministry of Education will help us determine the most suitable boundary for the new school. At this point of the presentation, I'll pass things off over to Eric, who's going to review the various boundary changes that we've together.
Thanks, Ben. So this slide shows the current utilizations of the schools that are involved in this review. So as you can see, currently only Hickson Central, Northdale, and Central Public School are over capacity. However, in the next slide will show projected utilizations, and additional schools are projected to grow above capacity in the coming years. And this is mainly due to growth that's happening in North Woodstock and other parts of North Oxford. So under a status quo scenario, which means without any boundary changes and without the opening of the new school, Zora Highland Park and Innerkip Central are also projected to be over capacity by 2026, with Blenheim District and Eastdale projected to grow as well. This growth is attributed to development in North Woodstock, the Southwest Woodstock Holding Zone, which is designated to attend Eastdale, as well as development in Innerkip and the Blenheim District attendance area. Most of the pressure is focused on the schools receiving students from North Woodstock, including Hickson Central Public School, Zora Highland Park Public School, as well as Central Public School. When the new school opens in North Woodstock, a lot of these students will be assigned to the new school, which will relieve pressure here. So in terms of residential development, which will contribute to future enrollment, this map shows where proposed or approved residential developments are located. The majority is occurring in the north part of Woodstock, which you can see. I'm just going to open my pointer here. So you can see where it's really concentrated in the north part of Woodstock. And there's also pockets of development that's concentrated within Innerkip, Drumbo, Embro, and Bright. So we'll now walk through the proposed boundary changes, beginning with Zora Highland Park. While no adjustments are proposed for this attendance area, it is included in the review as it is currently receiving new students from the North Woodstock holding zones and will be receiving new students from the portion of the Hickson Central attendance area located in the north part of the city of Woodstock. This is beginning in 2023, 2024. So after the holding students and students from Hickson Central's attendance area, North Woodstock, are designated elsewhere through longer-term accommodation solutions, utilization at Zora Highland Park is projected to decrease to 79% in 2026 and increase to full capacity by 2031. Factors contributing to the projected growth here include development activity in Embro and higher birth rates in recent years, which is leading to increased JK cohort sizes. With respect to Hickson Central, two options are proposed. Under the first option, portions of the attendance area within the north part of the city of Woodstock would be redesignated to the new North Woodstock Elementary School and Central Public School, with a portion of the existing attendance area in the northwestern quadrant of the city of Woodstock to be retained at Hickson Central Public School. In addition, the north portion of the Innerkip Central attendance area would also be designated to Hickson Central. It should be noted that this option is connected to option 1 for the new North Woodstock Elementary School, which will be discussed near the end of this presentation, and is predicated on the new North Woodstock School opening with an OTG of 660 as originally approved. So this option would allow Hickson Central to remain fully utilized due to the retention of some students from North Woodstock. Accordingly, the projected utilization in 2026 would be 112%. So the same changes as proposed for option 1 are also included in option 2. However, the portion of the existing attendance area in the northwestern quadrant of the city of Woodstock would become part of the attendance area for the new North Woodstock Elementary School. This would result in an additional 159 students being designated to the new school from Hickson Central. Given that this option would send more students to the new North Woodstock School, it's important to note that this option is predicated on the approval of the scope change request, which would increase the size of the new school from 660 to 856. This scope change is being requested, as Ben alluded to, as a result of the growth pressure from new development in North Woodstock and the increased number of development applications in the area since the approval of the new school. As a result, this option is connected to option 2 for the new North Woodstock attendance area, which is discussed later on in this presentation. So under this option, utilization at Hickson Central would decrease to 67% in 2026 and 72% in 2031. With respect to Innerkip Central, this school currently has a utilization of 100%, but is projected to experience enrollment pressure from ongoing and planned development activity within the community of Interkip. Under a status quo scenario, the utilization of this school is projected to reach 148% by 2026 and 192% by 2031. To relieve this pressure, it is proposed that the northern portion of the attendance area be redesignated to Hickson Central, the southeastern corner, south of Highway 401, be redesignated to Blenheim District, and a portion along the western boundary is to be redesignated to the new North Woodstock Elementary School. So this portion currently has no students, but there is an active development application on these lands that is expected to yield approximately 79 students. The proposed changes would result in the utilization of 137 by 2026, so down slightly from 148% under a status quo scenario, and 161% by 2031, down from 192%. Blenheim District currently has a utilization of 83%, but as Ben mentioned, it is projected to grow, projected to reach 91% by 2026 and 101% by 2031 as a result of new development in Blenheim. As a result of the proposed change, the school's utilization would increase to 96% by 2026 and 106% by 2031. With respect to Northdale Public School, it currently is above capacity at 120%, but utilization is projected to decline slightly to 108% by 2026 and 102% by 2031. This school has been included in the review to alter a portion of the school's southern boundary that borders the central public school attendance area. So as you can see in the image here, this boundary, or the boundary in this area, is irregularly shaped and does not follow a municipal road. To create a more practical attendance area in this location, it is proposed that the boundary be adjusted slightly to the north to follow Canterbury Street, Riddell Street, and Drew Street. This change would designate a small number of students from Northdale to Central, which is more proximal for the impacted students. As a result of this move, the utilization of Northdale Public School would decrease to 107% in 2026 and 101% in 2031. With respect to Central Public School, this school is currently overutilized at 137%. This enrollment pressure is the result of Central Public School being the previous holding school for the North Woodstock holding zones. To relieve this pressure, new students in the holding zones are now designated to Zora Highland Park as of the start of the current school year. When the new North Woodstock Elementary School opens, a large portion of the holding students at Central are proposed to be redesignated to this new school. If all holding students are removed from Central, utilization would decline to 78% in 2026 and 85% in 2031. To ensure proper utilization for Central Public School after the new North Woodstock School opens, two options have been formulated. Option one involves a portion of the Hickson Central attendance area in the westerly North Woodstock holding zone being designated to Central. So you can see down in this corner. So on this slide, we've shown the projected utilization with the holding zone students remaining, the impact of all holding zone students leaving, and then what would happen if the proposed changes under this option were implemented. Under this option, Central would have a projected utilization of 87% in 2026 and 91% in 2031. So option two is the same as option one with the addition of the satellite attendance area that's currently designated to Eastdale Public School. This satellite area was redesignated from Oliver Stevens to Eastdale at the start of the current school year as a result of the Oxford County French Immersion and City of Woodstock Elementary Panel Attendance Area Review that was completed in 2021. Designating this area to Central in combination with the other boundary changes noted under option one would result in a projected utilization of 110% in 2026 and 104% in 2031. Eastdale has a current utilization of 84%. Under a status quo scenario, it is projected to grow to 94% by 2026 and 103% by 2031. As Ben alluded to, future development in the Southwest Woodstock holding zone is expected to contribute to this growth as Eastdale is the designated holding school for this area. If this option was implemented, Eastdale would decrease to 74% utilization by 2026 and grow to 87% by 2031. This option was included in the review as it would move students from the satellite attendance area to a closer school and would help to fully utilize Central Public School after the new North Woodstock School opens. So two options have been formulated for the new North Woodstock School, each predicated on a different potential OTG. So as I alluded to in the options for Hickson, both options are connected. So subsequent to this approval, development activity has accelerated, which has necessitated the scope change that was requested to increase OTG to 856. So option one is based on an OTG of 660 should the scope change request not be approved. Under this option, a portion of the Hickson Central attendance area in North Woodstock, the two Eastern North Woodstock holding zones, and a portion of the Inner Kip Central attendance area in the northeast quadrant of the city of Woodstock would be incorporated into the new attendance area. So this option would accommodate a significant portion of the new development in North Woodstock and would allow the new school to open at close to capacity with a projected utilization of 99% in 2026, which would increase to 139% by 2031. This, as I mentioned, this option corresponds to option one for Hickson Central, which would result in 112% utilization and 121% by 2031, as previously mentioned. So option two proposes the same changes as option one, or sorry, the same portion of the attendance area. However, a portion of the Hickson Central attendance area located in Northwest Woodstock would be included. So it includes the lands that are west of Vansittart Avenue here. So essentially, it would be extending it westerly over to 11th line. This would result in a higher enrollment number in 2026, and as I mentioned, is only recommended if the scope change request is approved. So this option would result in utilization for the new school of 101% 2026 at a OTG of 856, and 134% in 2031. However, this option would reduce the utilization of Hickson Central to 67% in 2026 and 72% in 2031. The benefit of this option is that it would allow all students in North Woodstock to attend a school in the city and would reduce busing from North Woodstock to Hickson Central. This option would also better accommodate long-term growth that is anticipated for the area. So that concludes all of the potential options. I'm now going to hand it back to Jeff to discuss the proposed timelines for this review and the recommendation that will be presented at a future Board of Trustees meeting.
Thanks, Eric. So the timeline is as follows: a website to obtain feedback and answer questions regarding the potential boundary options under consideration would launch following the April 25th board meeting if trustees decide to initiate the review. Administration would then begin working with principals of the schools involved in the review to recruit parents and guardian volunteers to represent their schools on attendance area review committees. This work would start in September. A virtual attendance area review committee would be held in October of 2023. The purpose of this meeting is for administration to present the initial attendance area review report to the ARC members and to provide an overview of the attendance area review process. This is also an opportunity for questions regarding the options and processes to be followed. ARC representatives from each school community would host school level meetings in order to obtain feedback from their school communities. The hope is that the options can be strengthened based on the feedback received from the communities. The feedback that is provided will be submitted in the form of reports from each school subcommittee, and these school level meetings would occur in October through December. As part of the review, administration will be coordinating a tour for each of the schools for trustees. This would occur sometime in the fall. Following the receipt of school feedback, administration would prepare a final attendance area review report for trustees' consideration, which would include opportunities for additional public feedback through delegations to the trustees. And a final decision regarding the review is expected to be made in March of 2024, with implementation planned to coincide with the opening of the new North Woodstock Elementary School. So a new attendance area is required for the approved new North Woodstock Elementary School. And we do also need to balance enrollment across North Oxford in order to strengthen the long-term viability of our schools. Our recommendation is that administration proceed with the Oxford North Elementary Panel Attendance Area Review and establish an attendance area review committee for the purposes of obtaining public feedback regarding the accommodation options included in the initial attendance area review report. Thanks for your attention, and we'd be pleased to take any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions about the presentation, Trustee Sack?
I'm just wondering when the new school is going, has it started to be built?
Nope, we received title on the land last week or 2 weeks ago. And so we've completed the design phase from a public consultation. We now have the scope change in with the ministry, so we need to have that information back. That allows us to start the tendering process for this and final permissions, as well as all of our permissions around site plan with the municipality. So best case scenario, this is a 2026 opening school.
Okay, thanks. Trustee Pizzolatto?
Yeah, I have a few questions, so I'll just take. I think just going back to Trustee Sack's question, I think the report didn't say it for an opening of 2024 or 20.
It just says to be determined.
Okay. That was clarification. My question is, hasn't Hickson Public School been in a review recently? And I'm saying in the last years.
It hasn't been involved in our, through the chair, sorry, it hasn't been involved in a review. We did cap the school recently. And so there was a report on that in the last few months to the board. The only school in this that was previously part of a review is Eastdale, I believe. And that's the consideration of moving that satellite attendance area from Eastdale to Central.
Follow up.
Of course, go ahead.
What I don't want to see is a school being affected by a review, so students being shifted from one school to another and then shifting again, and that's not what I'd like to see. I'm sure none of the trustees want to see that. I just want to ensure that that won't be the case, that we're not moving kids more than one. If we need to move kids, like we haven't moved them 2 years ago, and then we're gonna move them again.
Madam Chair, thank you very much for that comment. So as part of our work, we wanted to put together as many options for trustees' consideration as possible. Given that Central is more proximal to that satellite attendance area than Eastdale, we thought it'd be worthwhile to bring that for consideration and public feedback. With that being said, there's certainly opportunities through the decision-making process to provide legacy agreement options for students to make sure that students do not have to move that second time as they were previously.
Please go ahead.
So just for clarification, Eastdale students have been moved.
Yeah, the 79 students, I believe, in that satellite attendance area were moved from Oliver Stevens to Eastdale in the last review. Those are the only ones that are sort of affected twice through recent work.
I'll go on the bottom of the list.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Pizzolatto?
I do have another question. I see that this attendance area review is to go, if it goes forward, we have 2 attendance area reviews that are in the process right now, St. Thomas area attendance area review and the secondary school in the City of London area review. And I just want to ensure that we can, because I don't know what's going to come forward in June with the Board of Trustees and what recommendations will come forward based on public input. So saying that whatever comes forward based on public input, we can complete those St. Thomas and City of London completely. And they won't be affected by this. So we're not going to say, oh, you've added some scope to your, from based on public feedback, we've added things to the City of London or St. Thomas. We can't complete this because we're on the Woodstock one is what I'm trying to say. So I want to ensure for those areas that those will be completed first in total before we move on.
Yeah, through the chair. So this isn't contemplating forming committees or beginning work until the fall of 2023, with no decision planned to come back to the trustees till 2024 on this issue.
Please go ahead.
So for clarification, because I know that there's a board motion coming to the board table from trustee Larson, I believe, that if we postpone the City of London decision till October, that decision won't be impacted if there's more work to be done because we are starting another review.
Yeah, through the chair, administration's not concerned about.
Is that answering your question? Okay. Trustee Larson?
Through you, Chair. One of the reasons that I put forward that motion to delay the board's decision on the London secondary area review is my concern about the short timeline between public input being completed, the public delegation, and then the board decision. And that's a policy and procedural issue because I know that we are following the existing procedures around those timelines. But it is a concern that I think is worth having a conversation about at some point to ensure that we do justice to the public input and have enough time as a board to be able to think about and review the public input in terms of our final decision making. I'm assuming that this follows the same procedures as outlined already, so.
Okay. Is no question though?
No, sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Trustee Mai.
I do not have a question. However,
Okay,
I did want
Trustee Anjo, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
to make a comment that I am very appreciative of this work. And it is April, talking about work that's going to start in September. That's lovely to know ahead of time what's planned and appreciate the proactive measures given the growth that our board has.
Okay. There's no other questions. Is there anyone who will move this recommendation? Trustee Cripps, thank you very much. Does anyone need me to read it?